Hello, and you're listening to the Zone of Hot Truth, a podcast where we talk about our experiences, opinions, and hot takes as aspiring DMs. I'm Kevin.
I'm Eric, and I still think wisdom should be used for bows.
Oh, God.
This is a continuing debate.
I'm John, and Eric cannot kill me.
I'm Grant, and we're going to have a whole episode disagreeing with the whole bow thing.
Did I mention this is a weekly podcast?
So, now you have.
Our topic for today. Yeah, look at that. Look, I missed it at the beginning, got it at the end. So, tonight we actually have our first listener request. So, Allison would like us to talk about DMs murdering their players. So, our question for the evening is, should you, the DM, feel bad about killing your players? What do we think?
Absolutely not. If they die, they die.
If he dies, he dies.
Players are supposed to have agency, and if the players get themselves into a situation over their head where, unfortunately, where the dice don't go their way, and they die, they die. Roll a new character and get them integrated in the story.
What, my backstory?
My OC, he's Sephiroth. So I'm like kind of close to you, Eric. If they die, they die. I think I'm maybe a little bit less gleeful and
bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
Only pop champagne when all 3 death saves are failed, and I look into their eyes and say, "No, you cannot be resurrected."
After you watch them burn their character sheet, no.
There is no body.
Yeah. So I largely agree with the fact that player agency is important. There has to be stakes. If a player dies, that should mean something. If they make mistakes or poor decisions, there has to be a reaction to that. Otherwise, what are we doing? Might as well just be sitting around the table reading a book together. However, I, as a human being, do not enjoy I don't enjoy it. It's okay. It needs to happen, but I will not enjoy it when it happens.
You just got to get better champagne.
I mean, that could help.
This is the hot take. What champagne do you use?
Yes, the completely just go off the rails. We're now an alcohol podcast, but
we always were.
I think my answer is, oh my god. I think my answer is also no. You shouldn't feel bad about killing your players, but I do think there should be a little bit of purpose and intent put into deaths. Death for the sake of death or a high kill count is obviously bad, but at the same time, death is part of the game, so I don't think you should feel bad when a player does die, because inevitably it'll happen, and you should design some encounters to be deadly, and some monsters should go for the kill.
Sometimes life just happens, you know?
Essentially.
Sometimes death has no purpose. Sometimes people jump off cliffs and turn into goldfishes and smash against the rocks below. Yeah, I think for me, so I think you should definitely feel bad. It is that when you kill a player. And the reason for this is because they have spent a lot of time developing this character, putting work into something. They have created something special, right? And to stomp it in front of them is something that should not feel good. And that's what I should say. It should not feel good to you. Like you should be fine with feeling that with that.
And yeah, so yes, you shouldn't feel bad about. Or let me rephrase that. You shouldn't. You shouldn't like be happy about it. There's a mirth in Eric's eyes as he adds another tick in the death counter next to Grant's name.
I'm just trying to spell Grant's name out with all of his dead characters in my campaign.
For the record, he has killed me more than all other deaths combined in our group games.
I think that's 7?
At least. It's 7 or 8.
It's 6, unfortunately. I cannot spell.
Oh,
Grant's
you killed me
full
once,
last name.
John.
I did kill you once.
That's what the 7th did. No, and Eric. Okay, I've died the most.
Yes, definitely. That is undisputed. Maybe you should make characters with more than one con. Ah!
I think that John has hit on something, like in that you should, like, it's almost like you're going to awake with, you know, the player, right? Their character's dying. It has to happen. You can't change the outcome of it, but it has to happen. And so you commiserate with them, right? Is kind of the key thing. On the other hand, what I'll say is, so the DM should feel bad. I think that is the response that they should have to killing the player. I also think that it's also the job of the player not to ream the DM for the death that is happening. They should make it as pleasant an experience for the DM, because he's also having a horrible time, most likely, especially if it's his first time.
So I have a very applicable anecdote for this. This past Friday, I actually was killed for the first time in a D&D game.
Wow, welcome to the club.
Oh, the cherry has been popped. Not by one of us.
Yeah,
I'm so sad it's not me.
So the DM felt very bad about it. It was a TPK. It was his third session DMing, second session. It was his first attempt at DMing, and it was very clearly that he had completely overbalanced it because we had blown through all of the previous encounters without losing a lot of HP. Well, meanwhile, we were spending spell slots and burned through all of our hit dice to the point where the tank with 100 HP at level 8 couldn't get more than half health, and then walk into a room with 8 dudes surrounding us, and then he wanted to pull the punch. And so that's the thing that I when I say they shouldn't feel bad is he got to the point of the fist cocked, ready. He was going to use Cone of Cold on us, and he felt really bad about it. And
That's what he would do.
He said, I shouldn't do this. I shouldn't do this. He's going to, and then I yelled at him and called him a coward and shouted, "Kill me," until he used Cone of Cold.
You, John, or the player character to
me, John. I did not want him to pull the punch. So again, that's the important thing. When you put the threat of death, you have to be willing to follow through with it.
So the problem, though, with that is you mentioned overbalanced the encounter, and how that is exactly the problem. People are getting nervous at killing player characters because of the way balance is considered now. When you have things like the CR system and the idea that everything needs to be balanced, it hurts, because then the DM feels like there's some sort of standard. They're not living up to that standard. That's not how things are. If the monster's that, the monster's that. And when DMs have to constantly feel, especially as Kevin referenced earlier, needling from players as far as, that encounter was too tough for us. So I looked at my statistics, and the number of players who have threatened to leave a game after their character died as their knee-jerk reaction is exceedingly high. And I don't even have a very high kill count. Because it's hard. It's hard to look at a player and say, I don't. I've killed, in my many games, 15 characters have died. Whether that means they've been resurrected or not, that's taking that out of consideration. But
the status effect death.
Exactly.
Exactly. The cure wounds with a GP cost.
But 30% of those are players choosing, saying, I don't want to play this character anymore, write me out. Write me out in a dramatic way. The other 60%, of that, then 50% is in a boss fight. Ironically, all due to mostly disintegration. I really like that spell. Only a few are to random encounter stuff. It's really hard to look a player in the eye and kill them, and kill their character. But due to when the complaint is a balanced, the encounter is not balanced, or the DM should have balanced an character. That's just crap.
Yeah. So what I will say with that really quickly. So, and then I think Grant, you wanted something to say real quick. Is that's the key thing, I think, is that when when a player's like, oh man, fuck that monster, I'm like, that's fine. Like when they're like, oh, fuck this encounter, fuck this game. it goes somewhere. Like then it's directly at the thing that you've created, not like the situation that is there, like, because that's the story. But that's all I'll say. And then Grant.
Yeah, because I don't know. I think it's natural just for someone's first, like, their gut instinct is going to be anger or just kind of sadness after a character dies, because people grow attached to them. It's like an extension of them at a certain point. But that's also why I think you shouldn't feel bad, because, like, it's just part of the game, and it's a knee-jerk reaction, and you shouldn't be afraid of some initial, like, lashing out. Because it's not necessarily directed at you, it's just kind of a venting process, because D&D groups can be pretty close. And the players should be respectful, of course. I'm not saying they should just say whatever they want, but it's natural when people get upset to, like, open up a little bit. And especially D&D groups can often be close groups of friends, and they might feel like it's a safe space for them to do that. And they'll get over it pretty quickly. And
venting is appropriate, but
yes,
inappropriate venting is inappropriate.
Well, yeah,
inappropriate
obviously.
venting when it's targeting a DM and saying, you did this, your monster did this, or the one I have heard countless times, in over 50% of time, no, over, I think it's 40% of times the player has died in one of my games, the player has turned to me and said, you're a terrible DM, or I'm never playing one of your games again.
Ooh.
Really? I mean, you should...
The things,
Ooh.
Oh my
those
god.
are the things where you just want to say, you know?
Okay.
I don't know why you want to roll a dice.
Okay, well, obviously you should
it
never
all
do that.
stings.
That's awful.
Yeah, lashing out stings for the DM too. That's the other part of it. Like you've already felt like you've done something wrong. Like you feel like
Definitely.
you like you've turned the wheel of the car to get out of the way to protect a child, and you've run over a squirrel. And then now the kid's like, why the fuck did you do that to that squirrel? And it's like one of those things. This is the situation. This is what I had to do. I'm sorry, and you already feel bad about it. It's worse when it's suddenly like,
Certainly.
yeah.
Like the times when it does feel bad is when, like, there is a miscommunication where a player doesn't fully understand something, and I think that's also something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Is because, like, that's when we've been in deadly situations before, like, we, meaning my players and I, the DM, is the times that I get pushback is when they felt like they didn't have a full grasp of the situation. So I think an important thing to say is, if you are going to kill somebody, I don't think it should be a surprise. When, like, the Tarrasque swings and does 48 damage in, like, not trying at all. Oh man, I low rolled it. That shouldn't be a surprise to the player. That it just insta-gyps them.
Yeah. Like when they say I didn't know X,
Isn't any fight dangerous, though? Like, by entering into combat? I mean, I guess that's the difference as far as is combat war
different.
or is combat sport. But that's a whole nother can of worms.
Well,
Yeah.
like, anything, yes, you're right. You can trip and fall. Any situation is dangerous. But, like, the shibboleth that Kevin used of the Keyleth goldfish, she didn't understand that when she turned into a goldfish that she would die. That's a mistake.
And I think that's something we'll investigate further, but I think we're all going to go ahead and collectively turn to our players that we've killed and just say, I broke it.
Oh, there we go.
There it
go.
is.
Hey!
Okay.
Hey.
So, I think we're going to end and just talk about the answer to this question. So, should you, the DM, feel bad about killing your players?
No. I don't think you should feel bad. I think you are going to feel bad. And that's totally okay. I still feel bad every character who dies in one of my games. I joke as a coping mechanism to feel less bad. But you're going to feel bad. But I will give one piece of advice, which is do not resurrect them. It does not make the situation better. Do not resurrect them.
Resurrection doesn't count as a kill. Permadeath is... that's my hot take of the evening. Those should not count towards your kill counts. So keep in mind being there. It shouldn't be a surprise when they die. Like, I think that's really important. Kevin's making faces at me. I think the rocks fall, you die instantly is bad in any case. I don't think you should feel bad when a player dies. Eric's right, you're going to. It just that's just the way it has to be.
And yeah, I don't think you should feel bad, as long as there's some purpose behind it, and it's not just you killing them for the sake of having death, and because death's part of the game. You might feel bad. I have to agree with Eric there, but you shouldn't feel bad because it's going to happen, and it is part of the game.
You should feel bad. You should feel bad. That's all I'll say. You're human. You'll feel bad. And what I'll leave us off with is you can reach us at the zoneofhottruth@gmail.com or at zoneofhottruth on Twitter. Keep rolling those dice.